All right, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, guys. I wanted to go through a lot of the inequalities that we're going to be talking about. So, I have already posted this worksheet. I'm going to solve a couple of the even questions, and you will do the rest, okay? We're starting off with our number line graphs, just to simply graph inequalities to make sure that we're all on the same page about it. We have our 4x plus 1 minus 1 is greater than or equal to negative 8. First thing I'll do is we have a 1 minus 1, that's going to be 0. This is 0, so we have 4x plus 0 is greater than or equal to negative 8. Which is just 4x is greater than or equal to negative 8. And here we will divide by 4 on both sides, giving us our final answer, x is greater than or equal to negative 2. We'll come over to our graph. We will put a point on the negative 2. When it's also equal to, this point is solid. We are moving this way as it is everything that is greater than negative 2. Take a second, check your work. Great. Let's do number 4 as well. We have negative 6 is greater than 5n plus 5 plus 4. We're going to combine our like terms on the same side. 5 plus 4 is just going to give us 9. We have 5n plus 9 is less than negative 6. Notice this time, instead of talking about the first number, I said 5n plus 9 is less than negative 6. We will subtract 9 from both sides. Actually. 9 minus 9 is going to be 0. Our 5n stayed exactly the same. Negative 6 minus 9 gives us negative 15. Our negative 15 is greater than 5n, which we can divide 5 from both sides, giving us our final answer that n is less than negative 2. Now we'll go over here. This time, instead of a solid dot, we will put an open one. Because our answer can't be negative 3. It's everything less than that. Because negative 3 is greater than n. Yeah. Sometimes when I'm doing this, I'll get stuck. I will forget which way I'm supposed to move. We can check it a couple different ways. First, we could say, okay, negative 4 is less than negative 3. Is this true? Yes, it is true. Is negative 2 less than negative 3? No. So we know we're going to be moving that way. Something else that we can do, if you noticed from the first one we did, our arrow was pointing the direction. If we want to do that, we need our variable on the other side. And yes, n is less than negative 3. That will let us know as well. We're working that way. Take a second to copy it down. Check your work. And we will move on. we were able to graph it on a number line, and now we're gonna graph it on a graph. I'm gonna write down the steps that I do that you should follow as well. Step 1, what is our y? And the way I go about the steps is by asking myself questions. What is our y-intercept? And we are going to write this down as a coordinate. Hopefully by now you have identified it. At our y-intercept, that means our x is 0, and our y is whatever the value of b is. Second, or once we have identified that, we can plot it as well. We're going to put that point. Oops, it's a little off. Put it right here. Next, what is our slope? And I want to make sure that we write this as a fraction. Sometimes it will give it to us as a fraction. We might get a whole number, and we might get a decimal. Here, it's a whole number, so it's going to be 5 over 1. We can also check to see if this is positive or negative. We see that this is positive. It'll also be important if you want to put arrows. I know I'm going to be moving up and to the right, or down and to the left, because those are the same. We are moving the same way. Everything is different, which means it works. Okay. From here, before I plot it, I'll ask myself one last thing, with inequalities especially. Is it equal? What do I mean by this? We check the sign. This is saying less than. Is it saying less than or equal to? No. That would have a line under it. This does not. So I'm going to write no. It's not equal. And that's going to change something. Yes is going to equal a solid line. No is going to mean a dotted line. So, we come back to our graph. We're going to move up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1, giving us this point. And again, I'm a fan of also moving the other way, so we'll go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1. Right there. You can go up one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. Now we draw our line. We're just going to connect these. But since we said no, it's going to be a dotted line. My handwriting is done. The last thing we're going to do, because we are not done yet, the last thing we're going to do is put a 4 right here. I'm doing it, is we want to see if it's less than or greater than. This is less than. Our y is less than our 5x plus 2. So, with inequalities, when we graph it, we have to shade things in. And we need to see what we're going to shade in. And we can test it. We can test it with a point. We can use 2 points, actually. I want to know about this point and this point. One of these points will be true. One of them will not be true. I will show you how I do the test. I do not have a lot of space, so I will work through it a little faster. We have a point of 2, 0. We're going to plug in those numbers as our x and our y, giving us 0 is less than 5 times x. 5 times 2 will be 10 plus 2, and yes, 0 is less than 12. Is that true? We'll try our other point as well of our -2, 0. Here we will have 0 is less than 5 times x. Our x here is -2. 5 times -2 will be -10 plus 2. 0 is less than -8. Is that true? Only one of them is true. We see that this point is true. Everything on this side of the graph is going to be true. Our last step is to shade this all in. Everything over here is going to be true. This point and everything on that side will not work. The line itself also doesn't work because that point would be equal. I will show you what I mean right here. Take our y-intercept of 2. We get the point 0, -2. I don't know if you can see that. Take the point 0, -2. Let's plug it in. Oops, not -2. That's a positive 2. Shoot. I graphed it wrong. That sucks. That's on me. I put our y-intercept at the wrong place. I hope by now you caught that. I just did. Our first point is right here. I don't know why I read -2. That would be our first point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. Same thing. All right. All of this is exactly the same, except I made a mistake. Now we can test our y-intercept. Now that it is graphed properly as well, we have the point 0, 2. When we plug that in, remember this is our x, this is our y. 2 is less than 5 times 0 is 0 plus 2. 2 is less than 2. Is that true? No. These would be the exact same number. That would be equal. But that's not what our sign is telling us is possible. Which means everything on the line doesn't work. The point 0.1, that would work. That would give us 5 times 0.1. Instead of 0, it would be 0.5. 2.5. Now that's true. This line, when it is a less than or a greater than sign, that's our out of bounds. We cannot go out of bounds, but we need to see where it is. Take your time. Pause the video if you'd like, and let's move on. I'm gonna just check to see. Okay, you can see everything. Cool. Let's do one more. Great. I'm going to quickly change something about this. I'm going to make that negative. I will try to go into it and also make it a negative. If you're watching this and looking at the paper and it's not a negative, make it a negative now. The way it was written before of 2x plus 2y is greater than negative 8 is standard form. In standard form, our a has to be positive. Here our a currently is negative 2, which means we have some things that we need to change. We need to make it positive. We need to make this negative 2 positive. How do we make a number positive? We're going to multiply everything by negative 1. Every single thing by negative 1. Which is now, wait there, right there. Let's put our negative 1 right here. Negative 1 times it all, which will give us 2x minus 2y. And over here, this negative 8 is going to become positive 8. Now, what about the sign? Do you remember what happens when our sign is now multiplied by a negative? It changes. It switches directions. So now we have 2x minus 2y is less than 8. That's fine. We're going to move. I like graphing it in y equals mx plus b. Converting this into y equals mx plus b is pretty easy. We need to subtract the 2x from both sides. Minus 2x minus 2x. Giving us negative 2y is less than negative 2x plus 8. this side in y equals mx plus b in our slope-intercept form, this has to just be one positive y. So what do we need to divide by? Exactly, -2. By -2, divide by -2, divide by -2. Giving us y, x, minus 4. I left it empty because we just multiplied, we just divided by -2. So our sign switches a second time. Y is greater than x minus 4. From here we will do our steps. Our 4 questions. What is the y-intercept? As a coordinate, -4. So we have 0, comma, -4. What is the slope? For this, I want to coordinate. This one, write it as a fraction. We just have an x, which means there is an invisible 1 in front of it. So it is a 1/1. I'm forgetting how I wrote my 4 questions. Next, I think I said, oh, is it equal? There's no equal sign. No. You can also write what that means. That means this will be dotted. And then question 4 is a test. Okay, we have enough information to start our graph. We have our first coordinate, 0, -4, 0, 1, 2, 3, -4. We check, is it supposed to be negative? Yes, good. I didn't make a mistake again. Then we're going to start going up, 1 to the right, 1 to the right, 1 to the right, 1 to the right, down, down to the left, down to the left, down to the left, so on. So our graph will be dotted. There's not a solid line that goes through this. And then we're going to test. We can just make our test be 1 to the right and 1 to the left. One of these points will be true. Our first point is 1, 2, 3, 0, 4, and our second is 5, 0. Remember, this is our x, this is our y, this is our x, this is our y. If you are doing the point right on the axis, it's pretty easy because our y is 0. So when we start doing our test, we see 0 is greater than 3 minus 4. Over here, we would have 0 is greater than 5 minus 4. 3 minus 4 will give us negative 1. 5 minus 4 will give us positive 1. which one is true? This one. I feel like I'm talking like how Dora would talk. I'm hoping you're giving an answer, like you can say it out loud. Cool. Y is greater. We will shade all of it in. And that's our answer. I'm going to pause the video here and then upload another one about solving systems of inequalities. What we have done so far was a little bit of a review, and the rest is chapter 4-4. I'll see you on chapter 4-5.